I'm Russ Kickle, and if you ever ask the question, how do I get rid of monoporating nudibranchs? Or do people actually dose their tank with bleach, right? If you've ever had those questions, then stick around because this episode of American Reef is for you. So in today's video, we actually capture a conversation between Mike and Sanjay about the trials and tribulations that Sanjay has experienced with that new Montipora butterfly tank that he set up approximately a year ago, something like that. And like everything else, when you get these two talking, there are just little golden nuggets of information that come up in these simple conversations that I think not only the new hobbyists will find value, but also the experienced hobbyists. And again, today there's probably 3 or 4 of those such nuggets that at least I've kind of pulled out of the video. That being said, like everything else, those nuggets of information are always important to me. And BRS Investigates actually put a 4-part video series out that basically tried to answer the question, are pharmaceutical grade chemicals that we add to our aquarium, to maintain like calcium, alkalinity, etc., right? Is there any value to them over, we'll say, traditional, elements or chemicals that you see? And, and to that point, like everything else BRS does, it top shelf all the way, right? They go out, use a third party to kind of do the testing results, etc. So they're trying to provide the absolute best and most accurate information as possible. And again, they never fail to at least amaze me. And in this video, or the video series actually, it's another one of those ones where I find tons of value in them. And speaking of which, Premium Aquatics also put another video out where what basically Jeff did is they look at this little micro algae scrubber for your sump, where if you don't have a whole lot of room, you can actually use it, and you can actually use it in your tank. Speaking of which, again, it's a little product that I never knew existed, and again, I think it's definitely worth checking out because we all need tools, to help kind of grow those corals the way we want to and to help keep that water clean. And again, this is just another one of those tools that we can put in our tool belt, knowing that it exists, and there may be some value there for us. And then lastly, if you're looking for what I consider the best fish food on the planet, that's American Reef's HPD, and you can get that over at AmericanReefHPD.com. So with that being said, let's spin up that video with Mike and Sanjay. What are we doing, gentlemen? Talk to me.
We're talking about Sanjay's tank a year after we saw it. Unfortunately, he had to break it all down because I gave him some unnecessary or unwanted hitchhikers. Unbeknownst to me, because they don't wipe out my corals, but they wiped them out here. Basically, I gave him some Montipora eating nudibranchs, which are one of the biggest pests you can introduce. I didn't see them in my tank. He showed them to me right after I gave him frags. I then started dipping my corals. I added 6-line wrasses, pseudochromis, and a bunch of other things. I haven't seen my Montiporas getting attacked by them. I also am kind of crazy and go down at 3 o'clock in the morning every night with a flashlight, and if I see them, plucking them out. But for the most part, I've not had problems with them. But in this tank where there were no natural predators for them, And some people think there aren't any natural predators for them. They wiped out most of his Montiporas, or were wiping them out.
So that was a bad thing for a Montipora only tank.
kind of limited it.
So as a good friend, he took care of you. Is what
Yeah.
you're saying.
But the rule is, whatever I have, I try to give Sanjay all of it. So since these were in my tank, I wanted to give him a little bit of taste of what I have. So that was the point.
So, I wasn't going to treat anything. I just took the rocks and I bleached them.
He took literally everything out of the tank
Threw
and
them in
bleached it. Did you do it to the substrate as well?
No, I left the substrate.
You weren't afraid that they'd be in the substrate?
No, there's nothing to eat on the substrate there.
Well, okay, just kind of rewinding a little bit for those people maybe who didn't see the tank beforehand.
Shame on them.
All right. What were you trying to do with the tank before Mike so generously gave you?
Right. So the plan was to make a Montipora only tank with butterfly fish. So just to do something different.
But you can't blame me for the butterflies. Those I don't see any butterflies in there, Sanjay. You can blame me for the Montiporas. The butterflies are on you.
Right.
And so how long were you into it?
I was doing pretty well when we first caught the nudibranchs.
Okay.
All of a sudden I got rid of the dinoflagellates. Right? So this tank has gone through a whole bunch of different cycles. And for a while it was getting dinoflagellates, and I was being very patient, listening to all the advice I got, how to get rid of them. And I figured I'll try some of the advice, and unfortunately nothing worked.
Hold it. What were some of the advices? Let's just kind of bang out a couple of those.
Well,
Peroxide.
keeping it in the dark, adding nitrates and phosphates, to get the tank
Right.
to kind of recycle or something to that effect.
Various dinoflagellate elixirs.
Yeah, some of the, I tried only one elixir.
No, I tried
remember
3
the name.
elixirs.
Right.
Yeah, so, and after that I said, no, this is nothing's working.
But the only advice he didn't listen to was the advice I gave him. He had to put a UV sterilizer. Nor did he give me credit for that. I read your Facebook page.
Hey, I've been doing this for a long time. I've fought dinoflagellates before with UV. I just didn't have a UV sterilizer, and I said I'll give other people a chance to see if any other treatments exist. And then I saw Mike had cleaned up his tank. He had dinoflagellates, and I bought the exact same one he had.
Yeah, it's an inexpensive pond.
A knockoff Jibo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not a knockoff Jibo, it's got a Jibo label on it too. So 55 watt UV sterilizer.
Okay.
And it's done a miraculous job in both of our tanks for wiping out
Tony
dinoflagellates.
helped me install it. Tony installed it.
Hold it. Say hi, Tony. You're in it anyway. I'll take that out if you want
I'll
me to.
drag him into it. So yeah,
Warned to keep me out of it.
But for the most part, it wiped out the
in
dinoflagellates.
3 days the dinoflagellates were gone.
Okay.
Yeah, just kind of miraculous
Water cleared
how
up.
fast they go.
The water cleared up, the corals were growing great, until I started noticing white patches on the Montes. And I go, what's happening? I don't know what's happening. I can't see the nudibranchs. And again, Tony with his young eyes, he looked and he goes, there's nudibranchs in here.
Oh, one other caveat on the UV sterilizer. This doesn't kill every species of dinoflagellate. It's basically the free swimming ones. The ones that aren't free swimming, it doesn't have a whole lot of effect on because I tried it on those.
Sure.
These are the ones that if you take them out and spin them around and at night they all coagulate.
Or at night they disappear off the
Sure.
because they're free swimming.
Sure. Makes sense.
So
Yeah, it works on like 60% of them.
Okay.
Dinoflagellates that you'll have are free swimming.
I
Got
would just go in and blow them off the rocks and everything in the daytime.
it. Okay.
And then
Get 'em free swimming.
Get them free swimming and go through the
UV sterilizer.
sterilizer, and they disappear.
Got it.
So it did work.
And
I mean, it's relatively inexpensive.
sure.
I mean, I probably spent $150 on various dinoflagellate elixirs.
Sure.
That
60
really did the
bucks
whole
for
up. This was $60-$75 with a
Yeah.
pump,
Beautiful.
and it works pretty much forever.
Right. Right. And when you did that, by the way, again, when you would blow, when you blow them off, so to speak, did you jack up the circulation as well and keep it jacked up, or you just kind of
No.
blow them off?
No,
with
we
a
both have
turkey
a
baster?
fair amount of
There's
circulation.
good circulation.
You
in
can
here.
watch and just shoot over the overflows.
Okay. Good deal. There's Sammy. Ready? Everybody say hi to Sammy. There's Sammy.
So now he's starting back off with all his Montiporas, let them grow out. He's running a couple little test cases because in one of his tanks, his grafted cap Montipora has lost a green. Put it in here, it's still vivid green. So he's trying to determine what caused it to lose its vividness.
Well, we were
Which I'll never
talking
figure out.
nudibranchs somewhere in there. What happened
Yeah,
to
the nudibranchs were killed with bleach.
Ah,
He took out all the Montiporas, all the rock, bleached everything.
Took the rocks with the Monties and put them in bleach.
didn't even, not
So you're
even.
I didn't even try to save anything.
So you're starting with purely dead rock again. Did you
Right,
put any
so the rock
bacterial
was
cultures?
all dead again. I had sand in here,
Okay.
so there's some bacteria in the sand, and then I put the rocks back in, and then you go through that same ugly cycle, and you can still see it's going through it.
Mm-hmm.
It's only been what, a month, a little over a month since I put the rocks back in.
Did you put any sponges or anything else in here to try and inoculate the
No,
tank?
no, just put the rocks back in.
Got it. And when you
Glued
say,
a few Monties on and said, let's see what happens.
for the new hobbyist, when you say bleach, you had a bleach and water solution.
Yeah.
What was that roughly? There it is. Right.
You can smell the bleach and the
There
stuff
you go.
turned white. It's
There you go.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
5-gallon bucket. Put
There
the
you
rocks
go.
in there and then pour bleach.
There you go. And then afterwards, you used dechlorination. Did you bake it out?
No,
How
I
did you-
just bleach evaporates away eventually.
Okay.
Yeah, if you rinse them
I
and let
just
it dry out,
Took
they
the
don't
rocks,
smell it
took
anymore.
the rocks out, rinsed them. They sat there for a few days, and then went in here.
Yeah, you pretty much give it the smell test after bleach. If you can't smell the bleach, it's pretty safe.
Perfect.
I mean, in the old days,
Yeah, I still have a few rocks sitting in my bathtub. That's why I kind of treated them.
in the really old days of the hobby, when we were all using under gravel filters, some hobbyists would actually dump bleach in the tank to make the gravel on the bottom turn white again. So
There it
the
is.
fish did okay. Obviously, we weren't keeping corals then.
To get rid of the dinoflagellates, I even tried dripping bleach.
Really?
That was one of the things I tried.
Interesting.
Somewhere people were talking about using bleach
Mm-hmm.
in their tanks,
Mhm.
and, just dripping it slowly
Sure.
in reef tanks. And,
Mhm.
So I said, I'll try it here and see if it does anything. Then do it.
Didn't do it.
Well, that's one of the great things about Sanjay. It's not anecdotal. He actually tries to do kind of a scientific study when he's testing stuff.
Right.
Versus a lot of this hobby is driven by anecdotal evidence. The
Right.
famous Dick Perrin peeing in the tank to grow clams. Sanjay doesn't pee in his tank, but Sanjay does drip bleach and other things in to try and
Yeah.
test to see if something will work.
Maybe there's something to what people are saying, right?
Sure.
So I don't know. Maybe I try it and see if it
Sure,
does work.
sure, sure.
Right?
Sure.
Gives you one more data point.
Sure. And so this has been up for now, you said about a month and a half?
Yeah, it's well,
Ish.
It's been up for over a year, but it's
But
redone
I'm
a
sorry.
month.
I'm sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
redone.
The rocks have been redone.
Rocks.
Sand still there, and still cycling. I think it's not gone to the steady phase where coralline's growing everywhere. There's spots of coralline starting to show up now.
Are you dosing anything in this tank? You putting strontium or anything else in here?
No,
You doing water changes?
I haven't done one in a long time.
Okay, so no.
Yeah.
And is the plan still Montipora, Montipora?
Still
kinda?
Montipora, but I don't know what will happen with the fish. That's still up in the air.
No, we decided a Moorish idol for sure.
Ooh.
Moorish idol would be nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be the show
That would be
pick
nice.
fish in here.
Yeah,
Yes.
that would be nice. If I
Mm.
can get a good, healthy one.
Moorish idol and a trio of flame angels. You don't need anything else.
There it
I've got
is.
two fish in here that keep wanting to hide, but
They're not used
there's
to
a,
jump
there's
standing
a
in front of the tank.
magnificent fox face and a scopus that were donated to this tank by a friend of mine. Yeah. He was tearing down a tank, he
Yeah.
had two fish. I said, I'll put them in here.
Yeah, we all have donated fish.
Sure.
Right.
No, I got a donated yellow tang that came from a tank that was full. I mean, as chock full of algae as possible. So I took this fish thinking, okay, I'm not going to have any problem. Well, apparently algae still lives through the guts of a fish. I had the worst, strangest algae and bryopsis in
Oh,
my
that
tank.
bryopsis.
It took a year and a half to finally get rid of it with diflucan, which is an antifungal, which I find really interesting, and it's good for killing off bryopsis. They sell it now, it has a trade name. But when you get a donated fish, you still want to quarantine it, because just what
Sure.
came out of its guts, depending on where
Sure.
it was, caused more havoc in a tank than anything I've added to the tank in a long time. So keep that in mind.
Lesson learned, right?
Yeah, lesson learned the hard way. Look out for what you trade, as obviously I showed you at the beginning, even if it's a fish.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Okay, so then that'll be the plan there from a fish maybe perspective.
Right, so as soon as it kind of settles out, and I'll be on the hunt for new Monties to put in here.
Okay, so time frames. 1 month, 2 months, 10 months. What's your general Because again,
So by summer, you'll be starting to stock it with
as
fully
far
with
as
Montes.
Yeah.
Montes.
Yeah.
Because remember, we're talking the new hobbyists here. We'll give them.
Yeah. I mean, I already put a few in there, right? Those are all from my other tank that I moved over here. But I want to get different ones that I don't have in that tank.
And shopping list, different ones. What are you looking for?
I really have. There's so many funky names.
Yeah, the names.
Okay.
You have to see.
Mike can fill you in on all
all the names. I have all the name
Just
Montiporas.
ask him.
I mean, they're all right now thumb silt size frags in my tank. By the time he's ready, the nudibranchs will have grown big enough so I can throw them in here. No, that is one of the differences in my frag tank where the Montes came from for his tank. I now have 6-line wrasses, dragonface pipefish, and pseudochromis. And I'm also meticulous at checking it out. And I dipped them for a month solid. Every week, every 3 days for the first week, and then once a week after that, and expected them and took off a lot of the bases. And I'm assuming that and adding the fish took care of them.
So you're saying when you do this again, you're not going to wipe out this tank a second time?
No, Sanjay won't let me do that.
Okay.
Because Sanjay will bring Tony here with his young eyes. He'll be looking at each little coral frag. Actually, he's gonna have Sammy the dog. He probably even has better eyes. That's what you should train. Instead of truffles, he's a nudibranch hound.
Right.
You want to be a nudibranch hound, Sammy?
He's too old for that.
Okay, so as far as the corals, then what do you got lined up for Sandra? What are?
Yeah, but you got lined up for me.
Yeah.
I
want it on record right now.
Yeah, that's right.
So that I can go
recorded.
back to it.
That's right.
And say, hey, you promised me this.
I have 40 different Montes in my tanks. You're welcome to frags of any of them, as is always the case. But the thing is we often talk about, joke about, I give him stuff, it changes completely in his tank versus my tank. And then I ask for it, he goes, you gave me that. Then he does it just like that, you gave me that. And we laugh about it. But
I agree,
we basically run different lighting, and that changes the coloration. And as I've stated, I'm getting a 500-gallon tank. It's basically the same size as his. We're going to be interesting to see the differences there, because what the differences are between there. I mean, we run pretty close to the same parameters. We both run fairly high alkalinity. We have nitrates and phosphates in our tank. We have tons of fish, which everyone, you can't have fish. We have lots of fish. Just look at a tank without fish, it's not that exciting.
No, it's not.
So, from that parameter, so the only thing we really have different is our lighting spectrums. But that is enough to change the coloration of the corals dramatically. And when I say dramatically, like I said, his corals and my corals, they're the same corals, but they're not the same coral in our tanks. So keep that in mind when you buy frags off of people and you think it's going to look like what you saw in the picture. That's not the case.
Well, it's a fake picture to begin with.
Yeah. They're on Photoshop.
We're not even going to the Photoshop tour today.
That's right.
This is a nice, calm. We're not doing the Photoshop tour. But if you see the corals live at a frag swap, and we go to a lot of frag swaps and pick up stuff there, oftentimes that will morph and change to something different. He got, like, case in point, he bought 3 different red stags at different places, all with different names. They're in his tank. They're all the same coral now.
Right.
Yep.
I mean, remember the
Including
time
the one you gave me.
Yeah,
It's turning into the same thing.
Yeah. And he once got 5 different reddish colored milliporas, pink millies. They all turned the exact same color as well. So thinking you're going to get something that's, until you put it in your tank, you're not going to know what it's going to do, because every tank is different. And even though our tanks are fairly similar, everything grows completely differently in our tanks.
Amen. Because I see it.
They just grow faster and better in mine.
Yeah. I will give it, he grows corals faster than anybody. I've always said that.
Yeah,
He used to grow the nicest humilises and samoenses, which are the really thick branched ones. He would grow them into cinder blocks. He'd be in there with a chisel taking them out of his tank. That's why he doesn't grow those anymore.
No, anymore.
You're getting old, you can't be using that chisel in the tank.
Right.
Tiny, get the chisel.
He's done that too.
And on that note, it sounds like a good place to continue on to the next one, right?
We'll do the next one.
So for this one here,
one more thing I want to point out. There's a lot of urchins in here.
Yes. Why?
Because there's no algae-eating fish in here, really. I mean, the foxface will eat some, but if you don't have these, there's a lot of algae that start growing everywhere. So they do a great job of keeping a lot of the algae mowed down off the rock.
And also, he added them before the algae get real high. If you let the algae get high, the urchins typically won't eat it. As long as you get it when it's just starting off, they'll keep it mowed down.
You can literally see when the urchins go over and clean out the rock.
And now, do you recommend urchins all the time when you're cycling the tank?
Until
I
you
think
have
they're
corals
really-
growing over
yeah,
everything.
I think they're a good idea to put
Good
them
idea.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the first
They-
year, you should always have urchins in your tank, at least for the first year.
They have a bad habit
They knock everything over.
carrying stuff on their backs. So if you have loose corals, you can see they'll carry it. Right now, that guy's carrying a few snails on his back.
Right.
Is this
You
one.
know,
And like,
so that one.
if this piece of Montipora, they knock it over, that's the other thing they do.
Sure.
They will then knock it over and move it
Okay.
onto the back, and you'll come down and go, where'd that go? And you're looking around, and it's an urchin over in the corner. You gotta go get it, glue it back down, and hope it encrusts before the next time you knock it down.
That's why I don't have them in my big tank. I've got so many zoanthids in there, and they have a bad habit of picking up the zoanthids and moving them around. So I don't put them in my big tank.
Now, are there any specific urchins that you like versus other ones?
These tuxedo urchins.
The tuxedos, this is the
And these
Halloween
are
urchin.
Halloween or urchin. And that's the
Pink urchin, yeah.
Pink cushion urchin.
Okay.
The only one I really don't like is the black long
Yeah, the
spine.
real.
Yeah.
Because you get them like this, and then you forget about them, and 6 months later they're like this, and you reach your hand behind your rock, and it's like, wow!
Hello.
Yeah, it's like you got hit with an electric line because you forgot about them.
Right.
And they only come out at night for the most part. They're very delicate when they're little, but when they get bigger, they knock stuff over. But it's more in a big tank, you forget about them,
Right.
Right.
and you find them at the least opportune time.
These are nice. These Halloween
Yeah, the Halloweens are one of my favorites.
tuxedos.
If you can get the Halloween small, they're even better. When they get bigger, they get more rambunctious and knock more stuff over. If you can get them in a smaller size,
Yeah.
but this is usually the average size they come in at.
And other than dragging on a few buddies with them, any other issues?
No.
No, it's knocking down stuff and dragging stuff.
Okay.
Other than that, they're
Take
perfect.
this spawn once in a while.
Yeah. Yeah, we got actually pictures of them spawning in front of my tank when we were about to go away on vacation.
Really?
Yeah.
They're nice.
Oh, they always do stuff right before you're about to leave, and you're going, oh, this could be bad.
Well, they're okay with this spawn.
Well, we have big tanks, but if you have a 29-gallon tank and your urchins all spawn, it could be a problem. We're
And
spoiled, Sanjay.
one other question on this tank: any other changes, like from a
I put
filtration?
the diffusers.
Ah,
So the
okay.
last time you came here,
Yes.
there were no diffusers on these lights.
Correct.
So
That's
now
right.
they came out with these new diffusers, and I put a couple of the, put one on each of these, and it's really improved the quality of the mixing of the light. So the bottom now, you're not seeing too many different colors.
You're not seeing the rainbow.
the rainbow effect that I was seeing at times on here. So I like these diffusers.
Yeah, they still have nice glitter lines, but it's not the...
Right.
You want to have a stroke because you saw all the glitter lines.
So I was going to say, does that bother anybody? Because it never bothered me.
No, I mean,
If you stare at a tank long enough and you look at the glitter lines, you do
Yeah.
start to get like hypnotized or a headache.
Okay.
At least I do.
it's definitely. I mean, I have before and after videos of the sand,
Yeah.
and you can see the difference.
Got it.
Yeah. Color
And
mixing is better too.
and I take it doesn't take away anything as far as the energy.
It does.
10%, did they say?
It does. They said about 20%.
Okay.
Okay.
But since in this tank, the lights are not on at 100%. So all I did was I just jacked it up a little more. They're running at 65-ish. Because there's nothing in here anyway. Nothing growing.
Sure.
So I...
And the Montiporas don't need
Intensity.
quite as bright a light as
Yeah,
the...
Montiporas don't need that much light either. So
Sure.
yeah, but on my big tank, it would cut off a lot of light. I have 8 of them.
So you don't have them on the big tank.
No.
Oh, okay.
Because he runs full 100%.
I'm running them
puts
at
on at
100%.
least 20%.
There's no
That's
adjusting.
like running him at 80%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, top down to 80%.
You have to get more lights, and that's
Right.
not real cost effective.
And have you noticed it being the water not being as polished, so to speak?
With the lighting?
Yeah, as far as with.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything in the water
No.
quality and look.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No, you just don't see the striations
Sure.
of different colors.
Sure.
Like, you put your hand here and it's like almost a uniform color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, on a lot of the
If you
non-radions,
if I do it in my other tank, you'll see little.
I mean, they do a much better
Reds,
blending than
yeah.
with the Generation 4s than they did with the 2s and 3s.
Mm-hmm.
But it's still with a diffuser. But until they get a diffuser that doesn't lose the light,
Sure.
I mean, you're trading one thing for another. But if you're only running your tank at 60, 70%, then the diffusers are a good investment because you can jack it up and put these on. So it's trade-off,
Sure.
cost benefit.
Sure.
Nothing
Sure.
else has changed.
Got it. So same sum, same skimmer in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, those weren't the issue. The issue is just getting the tank cycle, me
Yeah.
adding nudibranchs, him getting dinoflagellates,
Getting
different
dinoflagellates.
algae.
You sharing too much.
Yeah.
You're hard. That is the issue.
I'm
Mike.
seeing what new crazy pests I can get, just so you can test them
See if I
out,
can-
see how they do. Let's see, what do we have? Well, we have the sea spiders are always interesting.
I've never had those.
I've had 2 of those.
No, never seen a.
They're not a problem if you have 1 or 2, but if you have like 100, because I've seen a tank that had where they had spawned and it wasn't good.
For most of these things, we've found things that'll eat them.
Yeah,
The one thing we haven't found anything that'll eat it is the worm-eaten snails.
yeah,
I hate those things.
yeah.
You can see my big tank. There's so many of them.
You go in with pliers and
You try, but
Yeah, I
you can't
think-
get them all.
no, all you need is
Right.
one. And they
Yeah.
irritate the corals. They produce those nets.
The
They're
mucus
just
net, and no fish that I know at least that's.
they can't go into
coral
the
safe. That's
tube.
coral safe that'll
Right.
eat them.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
People say you should try some triggers, but they'll eat a lot of other things.
Right.
I'm thinking of getting crosshatch triggers in my 500 as a show fish.
Too big for me.
In a 500, I don't have as many big fish as you do.
I like small fish. I like lots of fish.
They're,
and small
they're this
fish.
big.
They're too big.
Lenardi's this big. I don't know what you're talking about.
I did.
Lenardi's as big as my foot. It's like putting a shoe in the tank. Oh, but this is too big. Okay, I'm missing something. Oh, there's 2 of them. That's
There's
one.
only one of them.
Gonna be two.
No, I want to get a pair of crosshatches. That's the plan.
That's my baby Lenardi that's grown up. I can't get rid of it.
Yeah, that's
No.
right.
Well, you'd have to catch it on a hook too to pull it on. Hold Tony by his feet with a net in there.
That's right.
No way.
What does
You're
that
so
go?
young, Tony. You got to be fast when you're young.
That fish is faster than me.
Yeah, but somebody caught it, Tony, so they had to be pretty fast.
They got when it was juvenile.
Yeah.
Good deal. So what we'll do is we'll come and visit this after you've kind of matured it maybe again. And
Well, hopefully it'll be less than a year. I know I'll be
Yeah,
back, but
yeah.
you, Russ, we're
yeah, I know I am the.
I'll be
yeah,
back in another month, so.
Yeah, I'm always the weak link in this.
If
So.
Sanjay comes and visits, he can pick out which Montiporas he wants, and I'll start.
That's right. We don't have it on video, so
Oh,
that's right.
jeez.
That's right. Good deal. Let's go.